Alright, today is May 25th, 2025. This is the Module 3 Exceptions Programming Project. And we'll start with our division app. So this app is the first of two applications that were required for this assignment. And we start by importing this scanner class so we can read user inputs. And then we're going to create a scanner object following documentation and capture it as an input from the user, right? So now we're bringing out this try. So we're beginning with our exception handling. A try statement allows us to define a block of code to be tested for errors while it's executed. And in this case, we are going to first prompt the user the first integer, right? And then we are capturing that as num1. The next line methods are what would read the user's input. We are then capturing these inputs as 1 and 2, respectively, 1 and 2. And then we have this this check, right? This variable is going to check if 1 and this check is going to divide number 1 and 2, and if we go with this floating division, we're going to get an infinity result. So this is, and it won't throw out an exception in like what I found out. So we need to do this first so we can actually get this arithmetic exception. So the program will then print out the result of division up to 2 decimal places, right here. So once this is safe, it's good, it's going to print out this statement. This %d is a format specifier used in the printf methods to format integer values as signed decimal integers. It places a placeholder that will be replaced by an integer value provided as an argument. And this is just for like clean formatting purposes, right? So I don't have to do a bunch of pluses and parentheses everywhere. So this %d is going to bring in this number, num1. It's going to be divided by this % number, num2, and then it's going to equal this this result and show up to 2 decimal places. And then this is going to put a new line, right? So our catch here is going to catch arithmetic exception E. In the event that the user attempts to divide by 0, it'll print out the exception caught and returns the error message, right? So if we divide by 0, we're going to get this, arithmetic exception caught, and then we'll get E, the get message, E being the error, right? The value inputted, and then the get message. This other catch is going to check if the user has a non-integer putting in there, putting out an error message prompting the user to use an integer, right? Invalid input, please enter integers. After that, we have an input close just to close the scanner for good practice. So let's run this. Alright, so we're getting enter the first integer, right? We're running the scanner, we're trying and prompting the user to enter an input. So let's enter 5. 5 is the first input. Now, let's enter 10. No, I'm sorry, let's enter, 2, doesn't matter. So now, 5 divided by 2 equals 2.5. So, it divided 5 by 2, and up to 2 decimal places, it put 2.5. So that's it working. So let's try these catch methods, these catch statements for the arithmetic exception. So we're going to run it again. So we're going to enter the first integer. Let's enter 5 again. And this first catch is catching if we're dividing by 0. So let's divide by 0. The arithmetic exception is caught. Divide by 0. Alright. So that prints out when we divide by 0, so it's working. Let's try a non-integer. Enter the first integer. Let's try m. It's an invalid input. Please enter the integers. Please enter integers. yeah, we put in a character instead of an integer, so that's why we're getting this error. All right, now let's look at password verify. All right, so we're using password verify class to validate usernames and passwords according to our specifications, right? So we're defining two strings, username and password, as private because we don't want these attributes to be accessible outside of the declared class, right? String and username, the string's username and password. They're also going to hold the validate username and password the user creates. They'll also hold the validated username and password after they're created. So our constructor password verify is taking in a string of username and a string password, and it's not null, right? And it's going to throw this password verification exception. Right, so let's just walk through this. Taking in, right? So we're gonna prompt our constructor verify takes the username and password, declaring a throw password in this event. Yeah. Our constructor password verify takes in the username and password, while also declaring a throw password verify exception. Yeah, password verify exception. In the event the validation fails, we throw a password verify exception. So if it fails, we have various different throws here. These are all checking to see whether the user made an error. Our first throw here, right, is checking if the user's input by the user, if the username input by the user is less than 6, right? And then we're going to get this comment, this print statement, username must be at least 6 characters long. If it's too short, yeah, exactly. Our second rule is coming in the form of a check to see whether or not the username provided contains an underscore, right? And then we're going to prompt, and then we're going to print out that it must contain an underscore. And our third rule is checking if the password string matches. The third rule is using a regular expression to test whether the password holds 3, 6, or 9. This password.matches line checks if the password string matches this given pattern, right? So if it does, it means our password has one of these 3 digits, and the exception is thrown. So this looking through documentation, this period, it means that any single character, right? The asterisks right here means 0 or more times. So period and asterisk together mean any number of characters, including them. So the 369 is a character class, meaning that 369 is a character class, meaning exactly one character that is either 3, 6, or 9. Just one of them is enough to trigger this. The statement essentially reads, match any string that contains at least 3, 6, or 9 anywhere in it, right? And if that's the case, we're gonna get thrown password verify exception. Password must not contain digits 3, 6, or 9. Okay? So our fourth rule is checking to see if we are including 2 uppercase letters, right? So we're gonna start by setting our user case, our uppercase count to 0, right? Then we're gonna loop through each character in the password attribute provided by the user. Password attribute that they type in for each character in this array. We're casting it as an array, right? So then we will loop through each character in the password attribute provided by the user. If a character is uppercase, we'll increment the uppercase count by 1, right? So if it's uppercase, this count over here is going to be incremented up 1. And by the end of this statement, if it's less than 2, we're going to throw the exception, the password must contain at least 2 uppercase letters. If these checks all pass, we store the values in the object, right? Our final 2-string method is returning the accepted username and password provided by the user. So that's our password verify Java. So this password verify exception, right? It's extending exception, allowing us to throw and catch our errors. This the super message is passing the error message up to the exception class. So whenever we throw our password verify exception and later write our get message, it prints out the message stored in the exception class, right? So it's going to print out these messages stored in the exception class. So we'll see how that plays out in this password app. So in our main application, we begin by importing the scanner class again, because we need to make sure we're taking the user's inputs. We then instantiate a new scanner object, right, naming it input. And our password verify array is being made to hold 4 verified accounts after they are created. Right, this array, password verify, this accounts is a password verify array. And a new password verify, it can hold up to 4. And then we're setting our int count to 0. So this is going to be to help us count up to 4 when we append these new accounts into this array. These print lines are basically, just stating the rules, right? And they're formatted to look pretty. You'll see with these new lines, it functions more easily to read and follow. So our while statement begins the loop, and inside the loop, while there are less than 4 counts, we're going to run this, right? We prompt the user to enter the username and password. The input next line is taking in the inputs by the user and capturing it as a string, username and password attribute respectively. We then try to create a new password verify object, right here, with those inputs that the user gave. And we're going to increment the count up 1 if all is good, and then we're going to print out a successful account creation message, right? And what we're catching here is a password verify exception. So we're catching the exception here. And then we're going to just print out the message, an error message of what the exemption is, right? So let's go back to this password verify exception. What's going on here? So this is our class. Yeah, we talked about it. So like in this example, right, we have our prompts and they're printed out. So we're running the program. Username, we have our rules, at least 6, and they must contain an underscore. And the password rules, no digits, 3, 6, or 9, and they must contain at least 2 uppercase letters. Right? So we can see our catch in the main when an error occurs, this get message. So it's going to return and then enter a new line. Right? If we go back to password verify, we can see that if our message has this underscore and it doesn't contain it, we're going to throw password verify exception. Right? Password verification is the extension of exception, and that's why we get this error. So let's just use that. So you enter username. Let's go with my name, ChristianEspinal. And let's enter a password. Just for the sake, we need 2 uppercases, I believe, from what I remember. I'm just going to put www.1234578. So as you can see, we get the error message. User must contain at least 1 underscore, right? So that's why we're getting this underscore. It's get message. So what message are we getting? We're getting this specific message. I'm sorry, this one, right? Because it doesn't contain an underscore. And this, this exclamation point, this is checking to see whether or not it is true that this string username contains the underscore at all, right? So let's now test these other catches. right? So we have username must be at least 6 characters long. So let's enter a username of let's include the underscore, and let's do Christian Espinal. I'm sorry, it has to be less than 6. So Chris E. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Let's just do Cree underscore Cree. Password 1, 2, 4, 5, 7. So yes, now we're getting the error. Username must be at least 6 characters long, right? So we're not incrementing our count. We're not prompting the user for anything new yet. We're still on our first account. We still haven't gotten account successful creation, right? We haven't made one. So we're getting the error. And the message, 6 characters long. It needs to be cannot be less than 6. All right, and finally, let's put in a password to 3, 6, or 9. Let's enter this username, Christian underscore Espinal, and let's just do 333333333. Yeah. Yep. Password must not contain digits, 3, 6, or 9. That's why. Right? So let's actually just go through and make these accounts. Christian Espinal, 080808. Oh, my password must contain 2 uppercase letters. Forgot about that one. Okay. Christian underscore Espinal, CE 080808. We made an account. Let's just, for the sake of finishing this quick, let's use Christian Espinal again. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I make 2? I actually didn't try for this. Let's see if we're allowed to do that. Yep, we made 2 Christian Espinal accounts. That's fine. Should probably add something that would check to see if an account already did exist. That'd be pretty fun to do. But aside from that, keep on doing it. Let's add my mom's name. Christian mom. No, let's just put her name. Leslie underscore Espinal. LE 080808. It's another account. Let's put Miguel. That's my dad. ME 080808. So now we have 4 successfully created accounts, right? And we are printing for each created account. Like, we're grabbing our array, our accounts array, right here in a for statement. Password verify. Accounts for every account in the password verify account, we're going to print the username and the password. Account. These are each an account. And then we close our scanner object. So an interesting thing of note, or design decision I should say, is that you can see that there's a lack of getters and setters here, right? And so, to my understanding, there's no need to modify the values of the usernames or passwords in this application once they've been verified, right? So this makes setting an object unnecessary for the most part. And if we wanted to modify this application to, say, edit these accounts specifically, I think then we would be, required to add these getters and setters. But in this situation, it isn't actually necessary, so I opted to leave them out. And on that note, I think that is it. So thank you.